Alright, so we're back and we're talking about this article here by our friend Peter Christopher. One day I'll have to track down Peter and tell him come on the podcast because Peter Christopher seems to be the tech reporter for The Guardian, apparently. Senior reporter, of course. Yeah. Alright, despite several instances of major cyber attacks in TNT in recent years, the central bank has yet to implement a dedicated unit for cybersecurity. So they're basically saying we don't have a dedicated unit because, well, our job is really to make sure money and fraud and thing doesn't take place. Cybersecurity is not exactly something that we were built to do. So they're saying that they're trying to plan it. But this paragraph here is what I want to jump out to. She explained that the bank did recognize that cybersecurity was a top 2 global concern globally, and it had been undergoing training and working on advice from the International Monetary Fund concerning its approach. The central bank is aware that cybersecurity is increasing with the efforts towards digitization. We know this is only going to increase it as it's one of the top 2 risks everywhere in the world. And we have, in this regard, we would have commissioned technical assistance from the IMF, and that has been ongoing. So remember last week when we spoke about the IMF and the 43 million at 43 billion?
42 million.
42
was
million,
it the IMF or was it the
Inter-American Bank?
That was the IDB. Yeah, not the IMF. Yeah.
Okay. IDB, IMF, basically, we give you money to do something and you pay me back, no?
Yeah, but the IMF are a little more dread in terms of...
you got to make sure you know what you do with that money.
The own, yeah.
Yes. So, that means that we are being given some sort of standards from the international people that given us this money, which I am glad for, because if there are standards in place, then we could be at least sure that the government knows what to do. If they do it or consistently do it, that's a whole different story. But at least when it gets implemented, you could be sure that the IMF and the IDB or IMDB or whoever it is, they would say, we're not stamping our approval on this until you all have such and such things in place, certifications, yada, and those sort of things. And I think that's good to know. But the problem is, for your central bank not to have a dedicated department, I guess that's what the article looking for, a dedicated cybersecurity department. That's a little concerning, because the first place that cybersecurity is required is when with people money, and
yeah. I mean, it could probably be tying in with the institution itself, and it in terms of bringing about change. Each central bank, is a very old institution. Cybersecurity is probably something that's new, so and bringing it on board hasn't I'd probably say it hasn't been a priority over the past few years. It probably now come to the forefront within the last, probably it's hard to say, probably last year or two. So the probably now is like, I wouldn't say running around like whatever, but it's like, we need to get this in place now.
But then again, like from a technical perspective, the central bank is responsible for disbursing funds to all of the banks in the country and making sure that funds are available for all the transactions that take place and controlling the foreign exchange and all of that drama. And I feel, I don't know, I could be wrong, that a lot of the bulk of the work does be left to the local banks to do all of that management, and or they just report us how much money they need or how we have to handle it.
I was gonna say that, like, which one are there? So all those services you talk about dispersing money and whatever, right? Which one of those things are public facing? Most of it is probably interfacing between them and the banks themselves would have to have some protocol or policy in place in terms of making sure things are secure.
And the banks traditionally have been the leaders in technology implementation for many things, because they know if they lost the money, they're going through.
Especially cybersecurity. I know at least 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, they were real big on cybersecurity, much less for now.
Yeah, and the central bank, well, if they lose the money, they just print more. Or they just be like, well, yeah, we could cover that up by just injecting some more money into the system. The only problem would be the foreign exchange part. But the foreign exchange part would have been wire transfers again with Chase Manhattan Bank or all them other banks. They would control all of that. And they'd be like, okay, we sent you all the US and whatever all they do with it after, that is all their business. We know they pay for it.
Yeah.
So I don't think the central bank had much of an issue. But now, because of the amount of digital transactions are going to start to take place with payment for government services and all of those things, the central bank is going to become like a bank where you have to actually collect money securely and pay out monies. Well, they still print checks, but if they get to the point, well, this means that they're probably getting to the point of giving people their money not in checks, like it deposited to your account, please. Tell me if
I still waiting on my income tax returns, income tax from last year.
Yeah. So the central bank going to have to start to respond like a bank, and therefore they're going to have to take cybersecurity very seriously, because now they will become public facing. Yeah, you're totally correct. They become public facing because now your payments to the government are going to become digital.
But would central bank be handling that, or would it be like, and for citizens is like government owned? Would they just do it through for citizens?
I'm not
sure how it's handled now. Like, you go to a licensing or you go somewhere, you pay something online. Where that money does go?
I know for sure we pay, people have court pay. And court pay is collecting money for you and transfer it to wherever it's supposed to go. So I gather that they'll send it to the First Citizens Bank. But from being in like a neutral perspective, if all the payments are going through the government and going through for Citizens Bank and government, the other banks could cry foul now. And they could say, well, First Citizens' monopoly on all the payment systems is unfair to us. Why we didn't get a chance to? And all them kind of
who they going to cry foul to? Like, who would they cry foul to and going to care enough to actually do anything?
Democracy.
It's like they will cry foul and okay, who cares?
Correct. But if you're a central bank, you need to go into the digital age and you need to handle the digital transactions, especially government payments. And, well, if FCB handling it, maybe, but they should be able to handle a lot more digital payments than before. Yeah. And cybersecurity for those payments.
I know the banks shared cybersecurity, like,
why?
I wouldn't say 15 years. I don't think it's that long. So at least probably 15 years ago. But I used to work before. That guy used to work in the bank. He was a cybersecurity person, right? He used to work in the bank and he came to work where I used to, the new place I went to work, right?
Yeah.
And the types of things he bring with him and implement was like he had to jump through a million hoops to do some simple things because he does locking things down so much. And so much so, like it had other cybersecurity people in other sites in different different country or whatever, right? They themselves used to complain that he locking it down too much. So that's the level. It's like
it's called standards.
Double and triple lockdown barriers between.
Because if you lost our money, you lost our money. Now, in this article, there's also a part. Let me tell you. During the GSE fraud squad, Senior Superintendent Aled Groom also admitted there were significant challenges in identifying those who committed fraud through card skimming, because card skimming was a real big thing, right? So he said we have an enormous amount of ABM fraud and credit card fraud. However, the difficulty is because it's like a hidden crime, because when you had the card, basically, once you swipe the card, you don't know where it happened, who it happened with, what machine it was on, all them kind of things. You might know where the money went, but you can't trace it back to anything. But it went down further to said, Groom said that as a result, in his 15 years of pursuing such cases, there have been very few convictions. He, however, confirmed that since the introduction of chip cards, such reports had reduced significantly. And I love that also. I'm real glad to hear that since chip cards reduce, the amount of card skimming is reducing. And that puts us in a place where everybody else in the world, well, every developed nation in the world was there 15 years ago. However, things like this, like news like this, they should use that as the evangelism tool to say, y'all, digital transactions are actually safer, in case you didn't know. Like there are pros to this that you don't even understand. Because before, when you had the other card, or when you're walking around with all that cash and all this kind of thing, you had to sell it.
The flip side to that is people will be like, I don't want my credit card to get leaked online. See what happened to TSTT.
In today's digital age, every business needs a strong online presence to reach new customers and stay competitive. But not every business needs a complex website or a full-fledged e-commerce solution. At makeITsimpleTT, we understand that every business has unique needs, and we offer a range of tailored solutions to fit those needs. Over the years, we've helped many businesses. Our services include website design and development. We create a professional and user-friendly website like these that represent your brand and drives results. Invoicing and payment processing. We can streamline your billing process with a user-friendly invoicing system that integrates seamlessly with most payment gateways, and you can receive online payments easily. We also do automated order forms, which allows you to collect orders online and customer information effortlessly and send back automated emails, notifications, and reminders, and then you just have to make the sale at the end. And in some cases, we offer custom software development, where we can create a specialized software system that meets your business's specific needs. But the key to all this is that we make it simple. If it's not easy for you to use, then we failed. So you can contact us today to learn more about how we can help make your business more successful. You can WhatsApp us at 1-868-308-8799, or you can visit makeITsimpleTT.com/business.